Welcome. We're going to get started in just a few minutes. We're going to let everybody load in. Happy Thursday, and thanks for joining us. We have a very large group today, so we're going to let everybody load in for just a minute or two. Okay. Just give it another second or two as people are loading in. I mentioned we have a really large group today, so we're going to let folks load in and then we'll get started. We appreciate y'all getting on. We wish we could see everybody's faces. We are recording it, so we will have it on our website too. So if anybody on your team misses the call, there's always a place to go back and find it. Okay, I think we'll get started. So thank you again, you guys, so much for joining us. This is our webinar series, session 2. We're going to talk about what to expect when you arrive and some booth guidelines. Just a few quick updates before we turn it over to Miss Crystal to talk some logistics. We have a great turnout. We have over 700 registered buyers for conference. We're pacing ahead of last year, which is great news. And we actually have 8 corporate groups that are holding their corporate group meetings, either all of them actually this year are right before conference. So that's exciting too. And we have a great lineup. So I'm going to throw it to Crystal and let her start talking some logistics.
Perfect. Thanks, Lynn. I'm going to share a new screen here and walk through a few items to get everyone started. So bear with me for just 1 second.
Welcome, everybody.
All right, we've got lots of information here for you to help you prepare for your booth, get ready for on-site. So let's start with just a really quick kind of tutorial on where to find things. These are the #1 questions we received. So we're going to walk you through a couple of informational nuggets that will help you along the way. So if you go and visit our attendispa.com website, if you're on the homepage, you will find anything you need to help prepare for the event. So for exhibitors, we have a special exhibit resources page that you can click on and find shortcut links. You can also find our webinar on-demand recordings here. So you will see our last webinar ready to go. If you missed it, be sure to visit here and check out some important information on shipping and logistics. And then later this afternoon, whenever you revisit this page, you'll find today's recording as well. So you can share this link with your team or anyone you feel it would be helpful to review that's working with your booth setup. And down below, you'll see some terminology that we use often. So Map Your Show is the software provider we use for booth placement. And oftentimes we forget that we're intimately familiar with some of these terms and names, and you all may not be quite as familiar with them. If you have forgotten your Map Your Show link to log in, you can visit this page and simply click here, and it'll take you directly to your login for your portal. Same with GES. If you are ordering carpet, if you're ordering materials for your booth, if you need drape or are looking at shipping resources, everything will be in the GES link listed here. And then we will have some exciting news about our mobile app in one of our future webinars that we're going to host. But just know we are going to have some new bells and whistles this year with our mobile app. And all of our exhibitors will have the opportunity to log in and enhance their listing, add videos, add PDFs, links, and it'll be fully accessible by you and your team. So more to come on that here in the next couple of weeks. So I'm going to show you an example of the Map Your Show portal once you're logged in. So I have our lovely exhibitors here, Oakworks. I'm logged in as Jessica Wadley, who serves on our exhibitor task force. And as you can see here, Oakworks has booth 916. So if you're not sure what your booth number is, you'll find it right here underneath of your company name. And we are ready for you to register your teams. So click on that Manage Exhibitor Badges and go ahead and register your team. And if you haven't done this yet, it is quite simple. All you need to do is click on the box, and I am logged out because I'm timed out. But whenever you click on the box, it has a little add button, and you'll put your team members directly in there. You can go in and delete someone. You can make changes, and just be sure you have a unique email address for each team member that you register. If you don't, you'll get into, some outreach from us asking you to make that change. And that is essential because, as you all know, with technology, in order for them to go to the self-check-in kiosk on site at conference, their email address is what they will use to print their badge. And if Lynn and I were both under the same email address, it would print out both badges whenever I go up to the self-check-in kiosk, and that other team member may not be with you at that time. So you really want to make it easy for your team and allow them to print their own badges and have their own listing within the mobile app as well. If you do want to download a receipt or an invoice, or if you still need to make a payment, you can do that here in this section as well. You'll see a Submit Payments and Download Invoice section, and everything is right there all in one spot. And we also have integrated the GES online portal into this section. So just know, if you're logged in to Map Your Show, you can get to GES through this system as well. All you have to do is click on Exhibitor Resources, and you'll go directly into that GES portal. And that's where, once again, you'll order your carpet, manage your shipping, drape, anything you need through GES for setup. That's where you will go to do so. And then I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to show you a quick look on our homepage. If you're curious as to who your neighbors are on the expo floor, you can visit the expo floor plan here. It's fully interactive. It's searchable. You can pull anyone up within the floor plan, and you'll be able to access it here. So if you want to see who your neighbors are, take a peek and look. It's a really wonderful floor this year. Lots of great brands included, and it's a very, very diverse group of offerings here. In the back right corner, you'll see a little blue highlighted area. This is our emerging brand kiosk. These brands are brand new to ISPA. So this is their first year participating in the ISPA conference, and they've purchased a smaller footprint than a 10x10 booth. So they will have a really nice first year with ISPA, and we encourage all of you to introduce yourselves to them if you're an ISPA veteran, and welcome them to the ISPA community. Now I'm going to go back to this PowerPoint presentation and share some information on booth setup. And before I get into the booth guidelines, I just want to go over a couple of terms that some of you all may be very familiar with, and others may not. So we will use the term linear booth often, and our linear booths are our 10x10 booths or brands who purchase multiple 10x10s in a row. And linear booths, as you can see here, we've got 6 linear booths on the left side that are all 10x10s. And next to those linear booths, you'll see an example of a split island booth. And a split island booth, each brand within a split island booth has open corners. They have 2 corners, and then they have a shared back. And then on the far right, you'll see an example of an island booth. An island booth is exactly that. They are on an island. They have all 4 corners. They can choose to have walls, not have walls. They can be fully open. So we're going to start with some information about our linear booths. So our linear booths and all 10x10s have a maximum height of 8 feet in the back wall. So that's important. That means as high as you can go is 8 feet. That includes any extra lighting that you may clip onto your backdrop. So just make sure you're very thoughtful. As we look down an entire row of booths, we should see everyone at the same height with those 10x10 linear aisles. Now on the sides, this is probably the question we receive the most. Unless you are on a corner, you will have 2 3-foot sidewalls provided. And those side walls are draped side walls, and they are white drape. And your back wall has an 8-foot white drape. So all of that is fully set. Whenever you arrive in your booth, you're going to see an 8-foot draped back wall and then your side 3-foot walls. Please do not remove those 3-foot side walls. Every year we have at least one. They're like, I really don't want that there. And then they start to move it. It really allows a nice separation between the two booths with your neighbor. You do have the option to go higher. So if you want to place an order with GES, an order drape that goes up to 8 foot tall on the side, you have the option to do so. You can also, if you have a booth with a structure, you can also have up to an 8-foot sign, an 8-foot hard wall, whatever it may be. But just keep in mind, the back of that wall or sign or drape, whatever you are using as the material, has to be clean and solid and fully finished on your neighbor's side, and it can't have any branding. That's probably the one thing that we have at least a couple of folks every year. They have a big sign, and then right on their neighbor's side, it has a logo and it's fully branding, and it really impacts the design of your neighbor's booth. So please keep that in mind and keep it really clean and fully finished, so we don't have to have any of those conversations on site, because it will have to be removed, covered, or replaced with something to basically provide that clean side wall. And I just dropped in a photo here of a 10 by 10 linear booth. As you will see here, they have done a really nice job of outfitting their booth in a very aesthetically pleasing way. And if you look over on the left side of this image with the lady with the yellow top, you'll see that 3-foot side wall right there, just really clean and simple and allows some separation. You will notice in some of these photos here, there's no aisle carpet. So last year, due to the pandemic, we had some extra cleaning measures in place that basically required us not to have aisle carpet in order to implement those cleaning procedures. We've made some adjustments this year. We're not under such quite stringent measures. So we will have aisle carpet back. So just keep in mind, when you outfit your booth, you will, if you don't have flooring, there will be kind of that awkward gap between the carpet and your concrete floor within your booth. You do not have to have flooring in your booth. It's encouraged for your team to give them some extra cushion and comfort under their feet. And just know it's completely optional and you can make that choice. But we will have aisle carpet this year. Here's another example of a 10 by 10 booth. And here you will see Lola's Apothecary, and they opted to go up to 8 feet in height for their side wall draped division. So they chose to place an order to include this within their booth. So just know this is an option, and it is your choice if you would like to do that. And as you can see here, they have no carpet. They have a small rug. It looks really nice, super cute layout here. Now we're going to go into the islands and the split island booths. So these are a little different. With an island or a split island, if you fall in one of these categories, your back height can go all the way up to 16 feet in height. The one thing that you have to keep in mind is you will have that back drape whenever you get there to set up if you're in a split island booth. So you'll have 8 feet of white drape in the back of your booth, fully set up. And if you choose to bring in a hard wall or a booth setup structure that goes above 8 feet, anywhere between 8 and 16 feet, the same rules apply, where the back side of that structure has to be clean and aesthetically pleasing with no branding, no bold colors, just really nice, clean backside for your neighbors. And it's not unusual for us to have one side of a split island that chooses to stay at 8 feet, and then another side that maybe goes up to 12 feet. So just keep that in mind as you're laying out your booth. And with the split islands, you can choose to have small walls on the side. You can frame it in. You can leave it fully open on the side, but you do have two corners there. So just keep that in mind.
Preston or Steven.
Okay.
Steve Bell.
So for the island booths, here's an example of Kirsten Florian. And as you can see, they are in a large island setting, and it's very open, very inviting, and it just provides you a visual of what we would consider to be an island booth. And for split islands, Kula is an example we pulled here. They have a neighbor on the back side. You can see that pipe and drape going up to 8 feet in height right behind their Kula hard wall. And they chose not to go above that 8 feet, even though they had the option to do so. Their umbrella goes up slightly above that, which is perfectly fine since they can go up to 16 feet in height as a split island. One of the things we like to emphasize is there are permits required for certain activities. I feel like we've reached out to everyone we knew that fell within one of these categories. If we've missed someone, please let us know. But as you all can imagine, in an expo hall or any of the meeting rooms within the facility, you cannot burn candles because of the liability unless you have a permit from the fire marshal. So we have to go through not only a permit process, but a very thorough testing process on site. So I think right now we have a couple of brands who have completed the information needed for their candle burning permits. And then on site, they have to meet with the fire marshal's contact and do some testing. They have certain types of wicks, and they're very specific on how those candles can be displayed. But it can be done. Just let us know. We are on a tight timeline here. Our deadline is tomorrow for permits. So let us know today if you need to be considered for one of those. I think as of right now, we only have one booth that has a vehicle located within the booth. Last year, we had 3 different vehicles. This also requires a permit and fire marshal review. As you all can imagine, there are some standards regarding gas and batteries and the moving in and the moving out process. So we will be happy to help you with it if you fall within one of these categories. We just identified a few important details to know here. Our owl carpet will be blue this year. As you all can see by the PowerPoint presentation, we have some really bold, fun colors in the theme this year. So we will have a really nice, solid blue carpet. And then we will have all drape in white. So those back walls and side walls will be white drape. And then ISPA is investing in a full Wi-Fi buyout for our event space, which does extend to the expo hall. So if you need Wi-Fi in your booth, it will be provided, and we will have a code for Wi-Fi on site. Now, if you're doing something in your booth, if you're a technology company and you're going to be streaming videos and you want to do more in-depth, web-based activities within your booth, we would encourage you to place a hardline order with Wi-Fi, with Mandalay Bay for those services, because as you all know, Wi-Fi doesn't always support some of those video feeds quite as well as those hard lines. Food and beverage items. We've been in contact with our companies who we know provide food and beverage items as a main item within their product inventory, but keep in mind that exhibitors cannot just bring food or beverage items and have it within their booth and serve it. This includes candies, mints, Keurigs with K-cups for your team. Any of those items that are visible, if Mandalay Bay sees that, they will then have to charge for those services. So it's really important that you follow that rule. We do have a sampling form. If your company offers a food and beverage item and you want to bring the food and beverage with you and serve it in the sampling size requirements, then we can work with you on that as well. But keep that in mind. I think last year we had a couple of Keurigs that were noticed. The same rules apply to the ISPA staff. Our team, same for us. Our staff office, we can't bring in any of those items either. And then each evening, ISPA will cover the cleaning costs for all aisles within the expo, and we'll do all of our main public space. But we do not go within the booth space. So if you want to order vacuuming or floor cleaning for the evenings, be sure to do that within the GES portal or within the, the Mandalay Bay Exhibitor Services portal, and make sure that you have that ordered in advance. It'll make your life a lot easier on site. It's one less thing that you have to stress about. And each booth does have one wastebasket included. As most of you all know, these are small waste baskets that are provided through the facility. So if you know that you're going to need a lot of extra waste baskets, or if you have a larger booth and you're doing treatments and you need extra waste baskets, order those in advance. They'll be in your booth and ready for you whenever you're setting up. And it, once again, is one less thing you have to worry about once you're on site. This is an important one. We really want to ensure everyone fully understands this policy that's in place. It has been since the beginning for ISPA, and most of our veteran exhibitors are very familiar with ISPA structure, but we want to make sure our new exhibitors are as well. So ISPA strongly encourages order placing on site, but we are not a cash and carry show. So all of our exhibit booth contracts expressly note that you cannot sell any merchandise that requires the exchange of cash checks or credit cards on site. So, you know, if you're going to buy a nail polish or a pedicure bowl or whatever it may be, you know, that can't be done on site. Those orders need to be placed and fulfilled after. And so we typically don't have much of an issue with this on site, but we really like to emphasize it because with our new companies, we don't want anyone to be surprised whenever they get on site if someone says, oh, you can't sell individual products on the expo floor.
Yeah, and Crystal, I'll just hop in here too. We do go over this each year, but every year we have 2 or 3 exhibitors who are selling, doing cash and carry on the floor, and it's a really difficult conversation to have to shut that down. So just know that there are rules in place in Las Vegas that prevent that. So if we see it, we will have to stop that. So be aware.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see here in the chat feed that someone has asked about booth area cleanup requirements for the breakdown on the last day. So once the expo is over at 3 o'clock, we allow all of the attendees to exit safely off the floor. And as soon as we get the green light from GES, you will immediately see all of the equipment coming in. They'll start rolling up the aisle carpet, and they will start to deliver the empties to the booths as quickly as possible. So GES, as you all know, is our main provider there on the empties. They will deliver them. They will be placed in your booth, and then you can start breaking down as quickly as you would like. In the GES area, in the front left, whenever you go into the expo hall during setup and on the final day as well, you'll see a GES service center. That's where you can pick up your empty labels. So whenever you're finished setting up your booth at the beginning of the week, you will go and you'll get your empty labels. You'll make sure those are placed on any of your crates that need to be taken off site and then returned for pack up on that final day. And as far as restrictions, it's very similar to setup. If you are going to have an EAC, if you're going to have any type of labor in there helping you with your breakdown that's not part of your team and you've hired someone to do so, you do need to fill out that EAC form on the GES website. And we can help you with that if you need assistance, but that ensures us that we are working with qualified labor and that we're meeting our labor union standards that we have to follow in Las Vegas as well. And just know you can't just grab a few folks that you've met while you're in Vegas and say, hey, I'll pay you $20 an hour if you can help break down my booth. So they either have to be part of your expo team, or you have to have an EAC form completed for them with insurance and liability covered. So just please keep that in mind.
And Crystal, I was just going to hop into, there's a couple other questions. I encourage you guys to go back if you didn't see the recorded webinar number 1. That really goes into detail about the EAC and setup and things like that. So where Crystal pointed out in the very beginning, and where this recording will be on that exhibitor page on our website. So I would encourage you to go back and read that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've ordered your shipping through GES, you've shipped through the Advanced Freight Warehouse, and you are shipping through GES, you'll be able to handle those empties directly through them. If you're bringing in materials through another provider and you need those crates stored during conference, you do need to place that order through GES for storage, since you are not going through them directly with shipping. Same goes with hand carrying. You can't just take 3 or 4 boxes that you brought in with you and have them hold them for you and bring them back. It is a formal process, so be sure that you place all of your shipping orders in the portal and make sure you manage that. Now on site, as I mentioned, empty labels with GES in the service center. If you get on site, you've used a third-party provider and you do need assistance with storing those, you can go over to the GES service center and assist, but it is much easier if you plan ahead and have that order fully placed and ready to go before you arrived. We oftentimes get questions on site saying, well, I've got 5 extra boxes of back bar product and I don't have room in my booth. GES, you can work to store some extra products with them, but once again, it does have a process and it needs to be ordered and handled, because as you all can imagine, with 200 plus exhibitors, they can't just randomly take a box here and a box there. It has to be very well thought out logistically, so no one's materials get lost and everything is protected properly. And then also I see a question here about outlets in the booth. So no, electrical it needs to be ordered. So all electrical is ordered through Mandalay Bay's exhibitor service. And you can order, 1 standard plug outlet. You can have a surge protector added. You can add in extension cords, or you can do something with a higher wattage if you are going to have equipment within your booth that needs something more than a standard plug. But you definitely need to order those in advance. I know I just placed ISPA's electrical order for all of ours, and it's quite simple once you go in there, but be sure to plan ahead. Same thing for water access. If you need water in your booth, that also goes through Mandalay Bay. It is absolutely accessible. It just needs to be ordered and planned for. Those are the 3 areas with electrical, hardwire, internet, and water. If you don't order them in advance, it could be very delayed in regards to when you're in the queue for getting those on site. Part of that is there's another show on site as well. So if their groups place pre-orders and we've placed pre-orders, those are going to be priority, and those will be taken care of in a very timely manner. And once those are completed, anything on site will be addressed. So that's why we can't stress enough, just plan ahead, place your orders. And if you have any questions, both GES and Exhibitor Services, we have their contact information on our website. Reach out to them. They have a service center. They are wonderful. If you're not sure what you need or how much you need to order, just call and ask. Say, here's my scenario. Here's what I need help with. Can you walk me through that process? And then if for some reason you have any issues or still don't feel like you have what you need, be sure to reach out to someone on the ISPA team and we'll help you troubleshoot that.
Yeah, and I'll just echo that, Crystal. We really want to make this as easy as possible, and everything is on. We may want to, before we hop off, Crystal, go back to that web page, the very beginning that you showed, because a couple of people are asking that question as well.
Perfect. Yes, let's go back over there really quick while we're all on here together and pull it back up.
everything you need to know is right there. It's really a one-stop shop to make your life easier.
Okay, so I'm back on the attendispa.com website. So if you just go to attendispa.com, you will see an exhibit section, and then you will click on exhibitor resources. And if you want to see the booth guidelines where I showed the diagrams earlier and the information on wall height and drape, you'll click right here and you can pull the booth guidelines document up, which also has contact information in it as well. And then down below, you'll see the map your show information for registering your team and for payments, anything you need invoicing on your booth itself. And then GES, our logistics partner, you can click there to access their information. And as you can see down here, you will see important dates and deadlines. And then down at the bottom, you'll see some questions. We went ahead and added in the GES help desk call number, and then you will see the Mandalay Bay exhibitor call number here. And we listed out, so Mandalay Bay, your internet, your electrical, your water, your food and beverage. And we know it's a lot to keep up with, so we're trying to add as much information as we can on here for you. If you need furniture, flooring, shipping, labor, booth setup assistance, your EAS, that's all through GES. And if you have a lead on your team who's not on this call today, I would encourage you to share this page with them and make sure they know where to find these contacts. And their service desks are open. They have lengthy hours and they are extremely helpful. I feel like we talk with them even on our end at least once a day and have a unique question that they help walk us through. Lynn, I'm going to go back to you for one more. I'm going to pull this PowerPoint right back up here.
And then we'll let you guys get on with your day. We appreciate your patience as we try to cover a lot of stuff with you today. This will be a recording on our webpage, so that'll be helpful. I'll do a plug for the auction too while Crystal pulls the page up. We're still accepting auction donations and hand bid will be live. So we're about 50% to our retail goal. So if you haven't submitted an auction item, please do so. That really helps us fund the PricewaterhouseCoopers research that everyone relies on so heavily. So just remember that all of our expo staff are treated just like buyers on the floor. You get daily lunch in the expo. You get the Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon refresher breaks, which are the great cookies and beverages that people look forward to. The live auction that I just mentioned, it's great marketing exposure for your brand. If you haven't donated something, please do. There's a link on our webpage. There will be cash bars. It is on the back of the expo. It's a really high energy, fun event. We have a professional auctioneer this year to really bring the noise, which will be great. And as a reminder for you and your team, we have the complimentary headshot stations on the floor, and that's for you all as well, not just for the buyers. So we really try to provide as much as we can for not only the resource partners, but also your teams. So I think that's it. If we got some quick deadlines here, we've got our, don't forget to book your room at Mandalay Bay. The April 5th deadline's coming up very quickly. Advanced shipment that Crystal mentioned at GES, April 6th. Your GES discount deadline is April 17th. So please order everything before then. It would be silly to have to pay more because you missed the deadline. The Mandalay Bay Exhibitor Services discount deadline is the next day on the 18th. And then your very last day for advanced shipment to the warehouse without getting charged extra will be May 1st. So these are things that help your bottom line. So as organized as you can be to hit these advanced discounts, the better off your budget will be on the other side of conference. So really, that's it. You can reach out to me or Crystal if you have questions. Please share this video with your team. And we're super excited to see you guys. As we mentioned, we're pacing well ahead of prior year, over 700 buyers already, which is great. And we just have a handful of booths left on the floor. I think right now we've got 4. So if you know anybody that's waiting to book, they might want to reach out to us pretty quickly. But we'll see you soon. And we're so grateful for your support and have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. And if we didn't get to your question, I'll reach out to you individually. I've saved the chat feed here so we can reach out to you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.